This is James again from Trust Start. Today we are going to address the topic of asset privacy versus asset protection. And so the issues that come up, and we've had one of the questions, this is one of the reasons that people come to us, they get confused about the difference between asset protection and asset privacy. What we define as the distinction between the two of them is that asset protection are typically sold by attorneys or legal law firms, and it's a complete structure, it's a complete myriad of different legal structures in order to safeguard your assets. But they consist of corporations, LLCs, family limited partnerships, and so on, and they're fairly complex structures. Whereas in contrast to that, you have what is called asset privacy, which is what we suggest, we advocate, which is actually privacy for the asset itself, so that people cannot find it, if you will. See, with the corporations and LLCs, the limited partnerships, those are all state-sanctioned entities, and those are all registered with the Secretary of State, so people can look those up and find them. So you've got the difference there between the asset protection and an asset privacy. Actually, your best form of asset protection is asset privacy. Now here's another point, the second point, and that is the difference in maintenance. Okay, the maintenance that you have to do for asset protection is maintaining the annual filings, the registration, the resident agent, and so on all those Secretary of State entities that you've got set up with your attorney. Okay, whereas with the asset privacy, you don't have any maintenance at all. Now, we advocate using a business trust or a real estate trust or a holding trust for doing this invisible title holding, this asset privacy, if you will. But there's no maintenance on those whatsoever. Once you get them set up, they're done. They're good to go. Okay, here's another point, and that is that with the asset privacy, or rather asset protection structures that you get from these legal law firms, they're fairly complex, and they have these interrelationships. And so if you're really going to be an educated client, or you're going to be an educated person and know how your affairs work, you really need to know how these structures all fit and work together. Okay, and if you don't, you're really kind of handicapped, and then you're dependent upon these attorneys in order to tell you, what to do and what's what and what's not. Okay, so there's a certain amount of having confidence in your legal law firm, but it's really much, much better if you understand what it's all about. You internalize these different types of devices, that you will, the different types of title holding devices, in order to get you the safety that you're looking for. Okay, whereas if you use something like an asset privacy, where you just use trust, if you will, for holding title, it's much, much simpler. So those are some of the main points, if you will, as far as the difference between asset protection and asset privacy. Okay, now let me address one thing that has been in the news for a number of years and people are all hot and crazy about, and these are called asset protection trusts. And they have them in a few different states. Nevada is one of the states. Alaska's got them. I think North or South Dakota has them. And so what this means is that people go and will set up an asset protection trust, and they do it in that particular state. Now, one of the problems is that if your assets are in another state, even though you've got an Alaska asset protection trust, your assets in whatever state they are, especially if they're real estate, and that's what a lot of people have, they are subject to the local laws. And so even though you have this asset protection trust in this other state, but you've got your assets in another one, you can have problems with that, because if you get into trouble with that particular rental property, that 8-plex unit that you've got, even though you've got that asset protection trust in Alaska or this other state, it still doesn't protect you in your home state. Okay, now if you had that 8-plex unit in Alaska and you had your bank accounts in Alaska, you had everything in Alaska, now all of a sudden you got a different situation. Now you got protection because everything is all in one domicile. But if your assets are in another domicile besides where you got this asset protection trust set up, you've got a leaky beanbag. There's some problems with that. So you just need to know that these asset protection trusts that are advocated and sold and are featured as these high-profile devices that really can give you some safety, you need to know that you need to have the assets in that domicile in order to get you with that 100% protection. And the other part about the asset protection trust is you got to do them in advance. So basically, in summary here, we've got the distinction between asset protection, you got those asset protection trusts, and then you've got asset privacy. Asset privacy is your safest form of asset protection because we've got invisible title. We keep your assets off the radar screen, and they're simple and they're low maintenance. Okay, that's all for now. Just wanted to kind of cover these points. Hope you enjoyed this video. You're welcome to share it with anybody, any of your friends, any of your business partners. That's it. It's James for now. See you later.